Yo, what up, man? We back with another Umar video. Salute to y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It's your boy, Sister Suicide Age 29. Pastor Lee, we in the building. Salute to y'all, man. Let's go. Let's get into it. YouTube then blocked and messed up the channel. Now we got to go extra hard to get it right back where we had it. I don't know what they did. I don't know how they did it. But you see, look at the views, man. We're supposed to get way more views than that. They all here tripping. I don't know what happened. Anyway, let's get it going. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know the freaking vibes. Hit the notification bell. All right, Suicide Squad, keep it 100 and fair. Might be some biases here and there, depending on who, what, when, and where. All right, but we're still gonna try our best to keep it down the middle, best way we can. Here is a Soul Mirror 29 is the Cash App. PayPal Suicide Age 29 is the PayPal is the Suicide Age 29 is the PayPal. They have a super chat, but we prefer you do the Cash App or the PayPal. But you can do either one you want. I'm cool with that. All right, let's get to it. No further ado, we got Dr. Umar out here on this tip, on the tip. All right, so let's see what he's talking about. Let's go to the video right quick, and we're gonna do what we came to do, man. We're gonna do it. I don't know how YouTube did this to me, man. I don't know, but they did. I don't know how they did this. Let's go. No, I think it's on 60. I think it's on 60 million. I think. Is it on 60 million? Yeah, I think it's on 60 million. Let me see. Yeah, 60 million. Let's get it.
Teller protest for justice.
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. And today we have just a wonderful surprise again. It's Dr. Umar Johnson, and he's got some wonderful things coming up, and I want the family to know exactly where his scheduled events are. I'm going to really try to hold back a little bit and let Dr. Umar explain what he's up to, what he's doing, because I think it's so beneficial going into the new year. Dr. Umar, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Queen. Glad to hear your voice, and Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, you got some stuff coming up, and I know the family is listening in to find out what's going on with you. And I've just got some questions about some of the real crazy things happening right now. But anyway, I'll let you get started. Oh, the number to call in, and Dr. Umar will be taking questions if you like, is 410-481-1010. And I am your host, Ann Kennard, and this is the Power Hour for Movers and Shakers. So welcome.
Welcome. As you know, Queen, I was supposed to be starting off the new year in D.C. and Baltimore with a double book signing. However, I was informed by one of my elders that the mayor of D.C. was considering locking down the city due to the COVID. So we decided to postpone it. Instead, I'll be headed up to Frederick Douglass City, Rochester, New York, where the great ancestor is resting in paradise. And I'll be doing a book signing there tomorrow, Saturday, January 2nd at Allah's Kitchen. And then on Sunday, I'll be in Buffalo, New York at the Raffi Green Jr. Center 2 to 8 and 2 to 8. And then I'll be heading to Brooklyn to celebrate Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad's 71st or 72nd solar return. We'll be in Brooklyn on his birthday, Tuesday, January the 12th, and then I'll head down to Charleston, South Carolina for Dr. King's birthday, Friday, January the 15th. We'll be in Charleston, South Carolina at the Diamond Cuts Barber Lounge for the Black Parent Advocate book release. And then the next day, we will be in Macon, Georgia for the first time at the Homeland Village Cultural Center. But I am looking to schedule Baltimore and DC, probably the first week in Black History Month.
Okay, so that sounds good. So you'll be busy. You got to do one of these events virtually so that, we can join in and find out some of the wonderful things that's going on with you. Tell me, I've been catching up on this. What are some of the things that really shocked you about the year that we've just gone through, 2020? And I know you're hard to shock, but tell me some of the things that really got you.
Probably the biggest disappointment, obviously the overarching theme of the year has been the pandemic. Clearly that, and of course with that has come the wiping out of what was left of the Black middle class. A lot of us have not been paying attention to that, but the COVID pandemic, plandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it, has destroyed a lot of Black businesses, a lot of startups, a lot of medium-sized Black businesses. A lot of brothers and sisters who have been doing quite well for decades are now out of business. So this COVID has definitely set back the Black entrepreneur. And so that's one of the disappointments more than a shock. The other disappointment, I can't help but bring it up, and that is the way that we as a community mishandled the George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor protests for justice that took place a few months ago. Those were the largest, most protracted, and internationally recognized protests since the '68 protests that happened as a result of Dr. King's assassination, and we got absolutely nothing out of it because we did not control the narrative. We did not keep the protests all Black, nor did we communicate exactly what our demands should have been. So we wasted a grand opportunity to really get something done for Black America.
Do you think that there could have been a good format for someone to step forward and say, these are our demands, this is where we want to support, and should it be in the form of money, or what's your thought?
It absolutely should not be in the form of money. I did a two-part, well, for Kwanzaa, I offered my own 7-night Kwanzaa series live stream seminar, and on night 4 and 5, I did a two-part seminar on Black economics. And any of your listeners who wants to watch that, they can go to my Facebook page, which is Dr. Umar Ifatunde on Facebook, IFATUNDE. I have 412,000 likes on that page. Again, Dr. Umar Ifatunde, and they can watch both night seminars. And I gave Sister Ann what would be my particular reparations demand list. And on my list, money was not included. But what was on my list was control over all Black music, publishing rights, as well as royalties. If Black people could reclaim our control of our music, Sister Ann, which is arguably our greatest cultural contribution to American society, socially and economically. If we could just control the music, we would be able to rebuild Black America, because music is America's second largest export. Most people don't know this. America makes more money off of music, mostly Black music, selling it domestically and internationally more than almost anything else that it sells. So if we could just take control of the music, we could rebuild our community.
Did you see that Netflix special called Ma Rainey?
I didn't. I saw, yes, starring, yes, I did. I saw a good portion. I didn't see it from start to finish. My mother was watching it, so I joined her. I saw probably the middle hour, so I missed the first 30 minutes of the last 30 minutes of it. But what I did see, which I think you're about to speak on, and something I spoke on my Facebook Kwanzaa seminar the other night, has been the continued exploitation of the Black artists. We have been exploited by everybody. In the early years, we were exploited by the mob. In the current years, we're exploited by the music conglomerates. The Black entertainer has had a very difficult time, not only being able to retain creative direction over their career, but even just trying to benefit from their own talent.
Yeah, it was amazing, because it was I actually didn't get to see it from start to finish, but there was a gentleman in there that sold his music for $5, and he was trying to get published, and they took that $5 from him and that sheet of music, told him it was nothing, and went on to make millions of dollars with a song called Jelly Roll. And it just showed Ma Rainey being so tough, and she was used, because it really portrays her as being somebody unsympathetic. But then when you really think about it, she probably had to be.
Absolutely, she had to be. She absolutely had to be. And we need control of the music, Sister. And in addition to that, I said we also need to put together investigation teams around the country to investigate how much land was illegally stolen from Black people. As you know, from the end of slavery all the way through Reconstruction, coming up to the early years of the Civil Rights Movement, a lot of Black people were simply forced off their land, scared off their land, intimidated off their land, and manipulated off their land. Tens of thousands of acres is what some estimates have with regard to what was taken from us unjustifiably. We need to get that land back. That should be part of the reparations package as well. And I also say that we should demand total control of the leading port in the 10 major states that account for 58% of the African American community in this country, which include places as Florida, Texas, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina. There's 10 states that account for 58% of all Black people, and all of them are adjacent to water. They are all sea bordering states. Illinois is one, but of course Illinois isn't a sea bordering state, but it is a lake bordering state. So if we could control the ports alone, we would be able to bring in billions of dollars in revenue just off imports and exports. So we need to get serious about the reparations situation. A lot of people who are here articulating the reparations have not been, in my opinion, sincere enough and visionary enough in what exactly it is Black people should be asking for. Bob Johnson, former owner of BET, put forth a reparations package earlier this year. I can't remember if you and I spoke about it on air, but he said that of the 42 million eligible American Africans, that we should each get approximately $350,000 apiece as compensation for slavery. And I said, that is absolutely ridiculous. What can you do with $350,000? That might be a house. It might be a house and a car. But if you're telling me a house and a car is adequate compensation for 400 years of dehumanization of forced labor and psychological trauma, you're absolutely out of your mind.
What do you think about the one that Claude Anderson came out, Dr. Claude Anderson, with the railroad train going through the southern region of the country?
I have to look a little bit deeper at that. I'm a big fan of Dr. Claude Anderson, so I have to look a little bit deeper, at what he is requesting, but I don't see why his plan couldn't be merged with our plan, the plan of the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. That would be a third entity. You have a lot of different groups out there, but they need to be brought together. And not only do they need to be brought together domestically, Sister Ann, as a Pan-Africanist, I am in big favor of us bringing all of the reparations movements globally together under one umbrella. I think we do ourselves a disservice, and we risk having the entire reparations movement manipulated and basically ignored if we don't, because Africa right now is fighting its own reparations. The UK is fighting its own reparations. The Caribbean, through the CARICOM, the Caribbean Economic Community, they're fighting their own reparations. Central and South America, where there was also slavery, they're fighting their own reparations. We need to put all of them under one umbrella. There was one slavery that took Africans all over the world, and so there should be one reparations movement to compensate us as a race.
You know what? If you could get that accomplished, it would for anybody. Because for right now, what I see just as a person looking at stuff, it's like you got so many jealous people. Maybe jealous of you, or jealous of what you've been able to accomplish, or jealous of what somebody else is able to accomplish. And it looks like nobody can really, get it together, because it's people like you that we listen to and respect. Because, you're on the front line of this thing. You're on the front line. And it's like, if you can't get together with folks that are willing to put themselves out there like you've been barraged with all kinds of stuff that normal people could not take. So it's like, it's almost demands that people that are standing up there in the forefront sort of get together with folks like you and try to figure out how to lead the rest of the people. I know Neely Fuller talked about, not getting folks like you all together because they're afraid that the enemy will just find you and destroy you like they're probably trying to do, and just create a code that we systematically abide by. Now, that's a little complicated, but what's your feelings on what I just said?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. As far as Neely Fuller, another elder who I have tremendous respect for, but I would probably disagree with him a little bit, only in that, recommending that we not come together doesn't take us closer to our goal. So we understand we're going to go to jail, we're going to get killed, we're going to lose our jobs, we're going to have our reputations assassinated. But that's understandable, because if you look at what the white man has done, and you look at his vulnerability biologically, economically, culturally, socially, and politically, you understand he's going to pull out all possible stops in order to stop the march of the African. Napoleon Bonaparte, who's considered Europeans' greatest general, although he lost the Haitian Revolution to black generals, the Saint-L'Ouverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines. But when he was asked about the need to crush Haiti and stop the slave rebellion, and they asked him, why was it so important to do this? And Napoleon said, we're not doing this just to put down the slave revolt in Haiti, which of course he was unsuccessful in trying to do. But he said that we're not doing this just to stop Haiti. We're doing this to stop the march of progress of African people in the world. And I think sometimes we fail to recognize that the entire rest of the world depends on black people staying disorganized and disenfranchised, because their success is contingent on our dysfunctionality. Every race in this world is where they are because we are where we are, which is disorganized, which is why multiculturalism is a joke. Black people who embrace multiculturalism have no thorough understanding of race and power at all, because if you did, you would understand how ridiculous it would be for a black person to push multiculturalism when every other culture is committed to your dysfunctionality in order for them to be empowered.
Well, I think that a lot of people think when you say multiculturalism, you're being racist, but it's not racist to love your own folks.
And everybody does that except us. Everybody is racially exclusive. For all the racial accusations that they've thrown at different black leaders throughout history, nobody has ever asked the European Jewish community, why aren't black people allowed to join your congregations? Nobody ever asked the Chinese people, why aren't black people allowed to open up businesses in Chinatown? They never ask these questions of other people, which underscores my point. Nobody minds if any other group is able to achieve economic independence, but they cannot allow black people to do it because so many of the other groups exploit us and depend on our black dollar for their own cultural power. Sister Ann, when I did my seminar, I was looking at some of our annual expenditures, and they actually blew my mind. We spend $761 million a year on frozen meat. Black people. We spend $4 million a year on children's cologne. Black men spend $60 million a year on toiletries. Black women, cultural hair. This isn't even including the weaves and the perms and the blonde hair. Just for cultural hair products, black women are spending $54 million a year. So if you look at the type of money that we are hemorrhaging that is going to other races, if we were able to redirect some of that cash flow back into the black community, we will put a lot of other communities out of business. Nobody wants to see the black man and woman rise. Nobody.
I think that black women right now, I know that if I have to walk into a Korean hair store for a product, I kind of would feel ashamed of myself at this point for what I'm pushing. And I think until we develop that kind of shame, it's going to continue. And until black men embrace us as having hair that is not going to look like a white girl's hair, that's something that you guys got to make us or women feel a little bit better about how they are. So that's a mindset. That's a mindset. So we got to pay ourselves on that.
And liberation is not a priority for black people. If it was, it would be reflected in our spending habits. You can't say that you're interested in liberation, but you do not see it as an economic priority. There was another statistic, Sister Ann, that was mind-blowing as well. And I think it said that just for the holiday season, the 2020 holiday holiday season, which is basically Thanksgiving until Christmas Day, America collectively spent about $34 billion on video games. And Black people, as you know, we spend more time on video games, on cable, on the cell phone, and on the tablet than other people, which also speaks to our lack of priorities, because someone in the position that we are in as a community should not have that much free time to be spending playing video games, surfing the internet, and communicating on social network. We should be out in these streets organizing, building businesses, building programs and systems for our people. So that also speaks to our lack of seriousness about the situation.
So why you get to get online, and Umar? Why do you get to get online and do all your selling yourself for FDMG? Talk about you want to take the queens out so they can donate $100 to FDMG. Why is it okay for you to do that? Why? I see what you're saying, bro. But everybody's not on the same tip you on. You have to grow up and get out of that, Umar. Grow up and get out of that thing. Everybody on the same movement you on. Everybody's not part of that movement, man. They not.
We're living in. But if you look at the fact that we were able to spend, I would argue at least half of that was spent by Black America. $15 billion in 4 weeks. $15 billion, not million, $1 billion in 4 weeks on video games. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I did not know how expensive a lot of these video games were. And at the top of the list was placed.
You would know if you was in your children's life. You would know how expensive some of these video games is. But you're not in your children's life, are you? No? Okay? Come on, man. Stop trying to pocket watch all these Black Americans like that's supposed to change something. I don't see you stop wearing your Nikes. I don't see you stop wearing whatever you want to wear and drive whatever you want to drive for the struggle. Quit telling people they got to struggle the way you want them to struggle, to be in the struggle, to support the struggle. Come on, man.
Station 5, and I forget the other gaming system. They're the top selling system.
Xbox. Trust me, I know
Xbox and PlayStation. Absolutely.
Right. I think that Xbox was $500 or $600, maybe even $700. It might go a little bit higher because the rarity is there. All of the gaming system, and it's run by people that are not even from this country. I think it's Chinese people.
Exactly. Yeah, dominating it. And I said on my live, and some parents got upset with me. Again, your listeners can watch it on my Facebook page, totally free, Dr. Umar Ifatunde on Facebook. But I said, if you have a child in special ed for a learning disability, reading, math, emotional disturbance, ADHD, mild mental retardation. If you got a child in special ed with a learning disability and they have a video game, you are a horrible parent. There is no way a child who is struggling academically, Sister Ann, sitting in special ed, got time to be playing a $500 video game unit. That is absolutely ridiculous. How can he be struggling?
First of all, you can't say special needs child can't play a video game. What type of person is you to say a special needs child can't take some time out of their day to play a video game? Who cares how much it costs? It ain't your money. It's the parents' money. A $500 console? Man, what's up with this dude, man? Shut up, man. A special needs person, kids should never play video games. So they should never play video games? They should never go outside and play? What's wrong with this man? You ain't even in your own kid's life to say something like that. What's up, Shaylin? This nigga crazy, man.
Academically, but yet he has all this extra free time to play video games.
And you know, the funny thing about video games, because I went in and asked one of these gaming people, do you know there's that I know of, if anybody knows of one, call in 410-481-1010. There's no video game that is geared toward academically learning, especially for the older preteen or the young middle school person that's struggling in school. All of it is killing, shooting. I think Minecraft might be slightly a bit more educational, but none of it is going to teach you coding or some of the elements that you need. And the other thing is, if these kids can operate a video game in the controller, Can you imagine what you could be teaching them?
Absolutely. And I had a parent tell me either last night or the night before, Sister Ann, and I didn't know that. She said, you know, the number one video game in America is that video game called Black Ops or something like that. It's the top selling video game.
Yeah, Black Ops.
Yeah, and she told me that with the Black Ops, in order to go up to another level, it requires you to do some reading. Like you have to do some reading and understand, you know, what the next level is all about, blah, blah, blah. And she told me that a lot of Black children stay on the same level even though they mastered it because they can't read or understand the information that they got to be able to process in order to play at the next level. So she said their reading skills is keeping a lot of them redundantly playing on the same level year after year. That was absolutely mind-blowing. And then I had another parent who told me something else I didn't know, because I never played video games, Sister, and I never, ever owned a video game unit.
This man said he never played video games. He never owned a video game. That's you. But don't say everybody else don't get a chance to use it because you don't use it.
In high school, I had roommates who had video back with the Nintendo and the Donkey Kong, and I would play that occasionally. But I never developed a video game addiction, thank God, because I was a reader, so I didn't have time to play games. But the other thing she told me was with these video games, Sister Ann, and I didn't know this either, that once you master a certain level with a lot of them, it requires a subscription. And even though you own the game, you have to pay to go to the next level. So even after you own the video game, you have to keep on paying money to advance through the system. She said it's a totally exploitative situation.
That's right. And when your kids ask...
That's cap. Everybody got to pay, not just Black kids. Look how he trying to make it. Man, then you got to pay. Then you got to pay. That's the new wave, Dr. Umar. It's called evolving. The video game systems and the way it's played is evolving. Has nothing to do with anything else. It's just evolving. So you're going to have to, if you want to go to the next level or do this and buy this and buy that, it's called evolving, Dr. Umar. The same way you want money because you evolved. The same way you want loyal donors because you evolved. And you want money for this and that, is the same way the gaming world wants. They say, yo, you want to go to this level? Then pay for this. You want to go to this level? Then pay for that. It has nothing to do with being Black. The video games has nothing to do with being Black. Every ethnicity play video games. And that's the new wave for Xbox and stuff like that. You got to buy gaming cards to go to the next level. That has nothing to do with being Black. It's just exploitation. Yo, these people crazy. What's up, 33? What's up, baby?
See what your credit card number is because they have to order something online. What happens is once they get that number and they put it in there, it's a wrap. They keep charging it, and before you figure it out, they spend thousands of dollars, but they're kind of just getting you like $10, $20, $25 just at a time because it's all stored in the system, and you can't get that back because it's been authorized. If you gave out the number, it is so unfortunate that these kids are doing that. Could you imagine if they were putting that money away in some type of educational thing that could support them?
Here we go. This is what I don't like about Black people. They swear that they can look at somebody else's life and tell them what to do with their money. That's their money, not your money. Can you imagine if they put it towards the educational system and the educational this and the educational that? Y'all crying about a video game? You mean to tell me if the person never plays a video game, their life supposed to be that much more better if they just never play video games? Stop it, man. Just stop, y'all. Stop it. Treat yourself, y'all. Treat yourself. They act like if you never play a video game, your whole life is just going to be so much better if you never play a video game, if you never watch TV, if you never get on Instagram, if you never get on Twitter. They swear that your life is going to be that much better. Now, I agree to a certain extent. Take time to focus on this and then take time to play. Take time to focus on this and take time to play. I agree with that. But to say that don't ever treat yourself, don't ever play a video game, you gotta pay stuff now. Nowadays, you gotta to go to the next level, you need to pay after you own the video game. You own the video game, and to go to the next level, you're gonna have to pay the subscription or something. That's called evolving. That's the new way how you play the video game. That's it. Has nothing to do with scamming black people. It has nothing to do with that. Everybody has to pay that way. Everyone. These people are nuts, man. These niggas is crazy.
In the future?
Absolutely. Totally wasted money. Our children don't have trust funds. They don't have bank accounts. In many cases, they don't have life insurance.
Okay, Umar. Do your daughter got life insurance, Umar? Do your daughter got trust funds? I understand everything y'all saying, and a lot of stuff y'all saying is correct. Trust funds, life insurance, I get it. But what does a video game got to do with that? A video game has nothing to do with that. That's like saying, man, don't play the video game, but you ain't got no food in the house. That's basically saying, oh, y'all go play the video game over getting some food. Nobody doing that, bro. Nobody's buying a video game over food. Cut it out, man. Stop it. Why? How come you get to have fun the way you want to, but everybody else in the world got to have fun like Dr. Umar? These niggas is crazy. There be trust funds. You know what I'm saying? Man, what that got to do with a video game? Stop it, man. Come on, man.
Their parents will spend millions of dollars on cologne, sneakers, Gucci for kids, Polo for kids, Louis Vuitton for kids, and also the research also spoke just to answer the fact that black people overwhelmingly prefer to shop at the most expensive retail stores. They have Saks Fifth Avenue.
Man, stop crying about people spending the money they want to spend. It's their life. What's wrong with you? Shut up. I want to let you know that they want to go to expensive stores. They want to go to the expensive stores, lady. I want to let you know that right now, that black people like shopping in expensive stores. It's a lot of black people who like couponing too. Why you would tell her that? That it's a lot of black people who use coupons. Why you didn't tell her that? It's two sides to the coin, Umar. Two sides. Umar only tells one side to fit his narrative. He never want to tell both sides. He only want to fit one side just to fit his goddamn narrative. They spending a lot of stuff on Jordans. That nigga wear Nikes. A lot of this on this. That nigga wear Adidas. What is he talking about? Man, these niggas in here is crazy.
Bloomingdale's and Neiman Marcus, I believe they said 62% of black people polled prefer to shop at those stores. But how can you afford to shop at these kind of stores when we don't even have any institutions in our community that we control? Where's our banks, our hospitals, our supermarkets, our schools, our factories?
Man, shut the hell up. You buy whatever you want to buy. They gonna buy whatever they want to buy. How can you afford to buy that if we don't got our own schools? We don't got our own shopping malls. We don't got our own this, our own banks. How can you spend your money on that? But give it to me for FDMG. Give me your money for FDMG. Give me your hard work for FDMG, man. Y'all don't see this? This nigga is a con artist. This nigga is a con sympathy. Just like your pastors. He out here doing what your pastors, making you feel guilty. Don't spend your money on this. Give it to the church house. Give your money to me. Pay your tithes, and the blessings gonna come. Yes, it will. Pay your tithes, and the blessings gonna come. He trying to hit you with that preacher shit. Don't let him fool you, though.
Our distribution networks. How can we be so comfortable hemorrhaging money to other communities and then want to cry about what we don't have?
That is it. Dr. Umar, I think we have a call. You want to take that?
Sure.
Go ahead, engineer.
Hello.
Yes, you're on with Ann Kennard and Dr. Umar. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm fine. How y'all doing? Happy New Year.
Brother.
Peace, black man. Happy New Year.
Same to you. From one fan-happiness to another. When are we going to change the conversation and start talking about integrating and assimilation and start talking about sovereignty and separation?
Well, for me, I think that conversation will not change for quite some time because most Black people do not want to be independent. Independence comes with responsibility and accountability, but a lot of Black people are not interested in. Most Black people want to be accepted by white people. They're not looking to do anything on their own. So you first have to separate out those Black people who are interested in independence and then build from there. We can't assume that every Black person wants the same thing because they don't. I think most of our people simply want a more comfortable oppression, a more comfortable second-class citizenship, and they would much rather have a more comfortable second-class citizenship than an independent first-class nationhood, and that's the situation we're living in, unfortunately.
Now, do you think that's true of African people in this country collectively, or just a certain class, specifically the middle and upper middle class, who have a vested interest in the status quo and fit that description you just described? They don't want to be separate from and independent of our historical traditional enemies.
Nor do I think the same, nor I agree with you, but I don't think it's different for grassroots people as well. You know, I think sometimes we assume that there is a qualitative difference in the thought between the bourgeoisie, the Black bourgeoisie, and the Black underclass. I don't agree. I believe that you could take anybody from the underclass, give them the same opportunities that you give to someone who belongs in the Black bourgeoisie, and their values will shift because we're dealing with a system. That's why we've seen throughout our history, when people who were on the underclass was given an opportunity to join the overclass, they totally rearranged their values and their interests. So we have to keep that in mind. It's not a personality issue. It is a systems issue. So what Black America has to do is destroy the system that takes our brothers and sisters from the underclass and then puts them in the overclass. Most of our entertainers and athletes were once a part of the underclass, but the minute they were given an economic opportunity and conveniences and privileges that the rest of us did not get, they automatically rearranged their priorities. That will continue to be. We will constantly see poor Black people drafted into the upper class until we change the system itself.
Okay, and I agree, but I maintain that the reason they embrace those upper middle class values is because they get the same Eurocentric indoctrination that they were led to believe was an educator. And I maintain that the cultural revolution precedes the social revolution, which is inevitable because Africans and Europeans are never going to live together in peace and harmony. There's too much animosity and hostility between us based on child slavery and everything that's happened then. But the key, in my opinion, and you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is an African-centered education. They won't betray us.
I agree with that, but I would add to it that African-centered education needs to be one that teaches loyalty to one's community, because a lot of our Black children, they do get an African-centered education, even at our independent schools, African-American charter schools, but it's not one that teaches loyalty. It is a non-directional, non-aligned African-centered education that does not teach them to be loyal to their community. So we have to make sure that the focus of the education is loyalty and nation building. Our children, unlike any other child in America, are seldom taught loyalty to community. We're taught loyalty to Jesus, loyalty to the church, loyalty to Muhammad.
Okay, hold on. Time out.
Loyalty to race. And if we don't start teaching Black children loyalty to race.
Time out. I'm all loyalty to yourself. Teach loyalty to yourself. Why people keep acting like Black people don't turn on each other? Why they keep acting like Black people don't lie on each other? Why they keep acting like Black people don't steal from each other? Loyalty to yourself. Loyalty to yourself, and then loyalty to whatever ethnicity you are. Loyalty to yourself first, and then loyalty to if you got brown skin, black skin. Stop selling this notion that we don't rob each other, we don't kill each other, we don't lie on each other. Stop all this nation building shit. Shut up, nigga. Nation building only works with people who want to help build the nation. Stop all this bullshit, man. Shut up with all that. Nobody want to hear that. Yeah, We just gonna come together. Everything's gonna work. Everything's gonna work perfectly fine if we just come together. That shit is a lie. It's all lies, and stop believing it. It's all lies, and stop believing it. The nation building. How the hell are you gonna build a nation with this stupid idiots like this? How are you gonna build a nation with Dr. Umar Johnson scamming ass? What type of nation is that? They all say the same shit over and over, but they never put forth the effort. And if you got a messed up leader, it's gonna fall anyway. If you got a messed up leader, it's gonna fall anyway. You got a lot of jealous people out there that's gonna backstab this person, backstab that person. So it's not easy to build a nation. They think it's easy. Nope. You're gonna need money, you're gonna need resources, you're gonna need an army, you're gonna need all of that stuff. You're gonna need people who not gonna turn their back on each other, you're gonna need people who not gonna snake each other. Come on, man. Stop listening to these people. They say the same old good feeling. It's a trick. Let's just talk about the good stuff and then point bad. They're bad for spending their money with other people. They're bad. Even though even the woman on this call, everything she do ain't black. Everything she do is not black. Everything Dr. Umar drive and wear is not from a black person. So what are they talking about? Please stop. Please stop the press. What's up, Sparkle? How you doing?
The selling out of the community that we've been experiencing for the past 400 years.
And I agree. I'm going to leave you with this question. Isn't in African culture the very first thing that a child is taught, male or female, is good character, how to behave? We're Africans. This is how we behave. The African people always had morally and socially superior society to European and Asian society.
I agree with you. The problem is, though, economics dictates values, and values dictates behavior, which is to say that it's going to be difficult to get African children or African people to align themselves with traditional African cultural practices, values, beliefs, and behaviors if we cannot provide them with economic opportunities. The reason most black people act like white people is because white people hire them and pay them. So until the black community can start systematically hiring and paying our young people, giving them opportunity, they will continue to imitate their oppressors. We have to be able to reward our people with opportunities. And until we can do that, we will never get loyalty.
And I agree. And I had a little sister, fifth grader down Matthews Infant Elementary School, tell me, Robert say cool, that's why we like you. You keep it real. You tell us the truth. And that's
Thank you for calling.
Tell our children the truth. Y'all have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right, Black man.
Yeah. All right. Dr. Umar, you came up with an interesting theory. This is shift a little bit on Kobe. Do you want to share that with the listeners a little bit about the fact that he was getting ready to buy out, I guess, Nike or Reebok? I didn't catch the whole thing, but I thought it was that.
Yeah. When Kobe died, and interestingly enough, I was actually driving through Lower Marion Township, where he's from here, right outside of Philadelphia. I actually was part of a class action lawsuit against Kobe Bryant's high school, Lower Marion High School, because they were systematically putting black kids in special ed who did not belong in there. But nonetheless, when Kobe died, it was very suspicious to me. I thought he was assassinated. The timing spoke to that, in my opinion. He was considering starting his own professional basketball association, which would have been based in China. Clearly, that would have had economic consequences for American corporations that they would not have liked. Okay, he was also getting involved in pharmaceutical research, which is something a lot of black celebrities do not involve themselves in. And as we just learned, which I did not know before, he was about to end his 17-year relationship with Nike to start his own player-owned sneaker brand, which could have possibly been based out of China too. So when you look at the interplay, Sister Ann, of the NBA, who stood to lose with Kobe starting his own league, you look at the pharmaceutical companies, which are one of the richest and most expensive corporations in America, and then you look at the fact that Nike, which is the athletic giant of the world, he was about to leave them and start his own sneaker brand, which would have been totally owned by the players themselves. that could have cost Nike billions of dollars. So when you look at this, you know, not specifically naming any corporation, but when you look at the interplay of these forces, all of them stood to lose with Kobe Bryant's agenda. And I think they collectively made a decision that it was time for him to go. Even to this very day, they have still stated that they cannot conclusively say what caused that plane to come down, nor can they find the voice box in the plane that records all of the conversation that takes place. What happened to the voice box? Why can't they find it? How has that been conveniently lost? Kobe Bryant was assassinated. And the fact that LeBron James put his number on his Nikes in Philadelphia, in Kobe's hometown, the night before Kobe died, speaks to the ritualistic nature of celebrity assassinations.
Wow, that almost sounds a little bit like, you know, the whole Bill Cosby thing when he started thinking about taking over that network. And incidentally, I know that you're involved with some of our brothers and sisters that might have some contact or some information on Mr. Cosby. How is he doing?
Well, Jesse Jackson has come out to demand Bill Cosby's release. Jesse said he's 84, he's blind, he doesn't pose a danger to anyone. And with the COVID crisis going on in America's prisons, you know, for the sake of Bill Cosby's health, Jesse Jackson said that he should be released. So, you know, I do appreciate Reverend Jackson for doing that. That was very important. And a judge did affirm Bill Cosby's right, I believe, to a retrial. You know, but as you know, trials can take a long time, so that doesn't mean he's going to go home anytime soon. So, you know, we'll see what happens with the retrial, but definitely if Bill Cosby was white, he would not be in prison right now. The real reason Bill Cosby is in jail is not only because of the network, Sister Ann, but he and his wife, Camille, own some property up in Massachusetts, under which an oil company wanted to create a oil pipeline to get some oil that is located in the area where Cosby's home is. And the only way they can get to the oil is to drill that pipe under Cosby's property, and he refused to let them do that. So he went to jail to bankrupt Bill Cosby, to force them to sell the house so they could get their oil.
Oh my gosh. And the other person I want to ask about, because I know you were right there, and well, you probably were really too young, but Mumia, do you think they'll release him this year? And I know you had to be right in Philly with at the time that brother was
when that happened.
Yeah, you were kind of looking for that struggle, but you might have some
insight. I'm familiar with it though. I'm definitely very much familiar with it. And shout out to Sister Pam Africa, who has been at the forefront of trying to get Mumia released. I don't know. I hope so. I hope, you know, that we continue to fight and do what we can, you know, to get our brother released. But I'm not too confident that he will be. I mean, when I look at the white folks that are involved in the Mumia situation, separate from our good Sister Pam, but when I look at the white folks that are involved, you know, I think a lot of them have made a corporation out of Mumia, and I think a lot of them benefit more, you know, socially, you know, and internationally by Mumia staying locked up as opposed to him being released. That's how it appears when I look at them, you know, which is why I'm a big supporter of Pam Africa in the work that she does, because she's the only one I see who's really doing this from a sincere and genuine place within her heart, where she really wants her brother released. The white folks that are involved, though, I think a lot of them are just opportunistically seizing upon his name and his fame for their own personal agendas.
Is Pam Africa any relationship to Ramona Africa?
Well, they're sisters, maybe from another mother. You know, they're all members of the MOVE organization. You know.
Do y'all believe that Kobe Bryant was assassinated? Do y'all believe that Kobe Bryant was assassinated because he wanted to do his own thing with his shoes and the basketball league and his own, you know, fighting the pharmaceutical business over Black Mamba name? Do you believe Kobe Bryant was assassinated? And what was the other one he said? Do you believe that Bill Cosby is in jail because of the network and that he got oil under his Philadelphia house? Do you believe that?
That went through the various battles with the Philadelphia Police Department. As you know, they dropped the bomb on MOVE, which was one of the first times American City bombed its own, you know, since the Tulsa bombing of 1921. So, you know, Ramona was in that fire. Pam was not there at that time, I don't believe, but she was there the previous standoff, which happened a few years before the standoff that led to the Move Fire. I believe Pam may have been present there. So they're definitely sisters, no question about it.
Yeah.
I don't believe they're related by blood, but they're definitely related by faith and Black power.
I think that first thing happened in Talenton Village.
Absolutely.
The first,
that was the first one. And then a few years later, the police, wanted their revenge, so they came back. And only this time, a Black mayor, the first Black mayor of Philadelphia, Wilson Goode, actually gave the order to drop the bomb, knowing that there were children in that house. Dropped the bomb,
I think he lived in his order.
And then he gave the order to let it burn. He said, let it burn. There were children in that house, and a Black mayor told the white chief of police and the white chief of the fire department to let it burn.
Wow.
He's never been held accountable for what he did, nor have the police involved ever been held accountable for their role in the murder of those Move brothers and sisters. Some of the elders have been coming home, from.
So Aunt Billy says no. Lil Unc says 33 says no. Cosby probably does have oil. Oh, so it does have oil. Okay, so he telling the truth about that. But is that the reason why he in jail though? Because his property have oil? And Auntie Billy says no, Kobe wasn't. And y'all let me know. He said, I believe the Bill Cosby network thing. Yeah, I think a lot of us think it's the network versus the oil. I think a lot of us believe it's the network versus the oil, but it could be other things too, man. We don't know.
Jail after all this time, you're looking at some 40 some odd years at least, and I think one brother just transitioned. I don't know if it was Brother Delbert. I don't want to speak out of turn, but one of the elders was released and then transitioned not too long after getting out. That move, that whole saga, I think, is one of the periods. It is one of the critical incidents of Black people standing up against the white power structure that has to be studied. We're going to study it at FDMG. We're going to have Sister Ramona, Sister Pam come in, and other brothers and sisters who lived through that to talk and teach our children about that, because there's a lot to be learned from that move situation. It's one of the critical and pivotal incidents where Black people decided to stand up and exercise their human rights against the white power structure, and they paid for it with their lives.
Well, the interesting thing about the whole move thing, where I think I got my first taste of what injustice was, because Ramona Africa, she was in.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think I was a freshman when I came into West.
Wait, Bill Cosby been talking about that. Wait, what part you talking about? That the oil or the Bill? Oh, he been talking about it since. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
Catholic in Philly, but Ramona Africa was fearless. When I say fearless, you're talking about somebody in high school that was unafraid of death. I mean, she was absolutely just in your face with whatever was going on with her when she stepped into that movement, being a good Catholic girl. But they recently took down the statue of Frank Rizzo. So I'm thinking that Philadelphia is starting to reconcile with some of their differences.
Not at all. Not at all, sister. And the taking down of the Frank Rizzo statue happened because the statue was being vandalized as part of the 2020 protest for justice that, was initiated with the death of George Floyd. So that was a part of that whole energy. And the statue was being vandalized, rightly so. And so they decided to replace it. But it was only symbolic. As you know, they started doing that all across the country, taking down statues of pivotal white figures, that, upheld of white bigotry, but it did nothing. Because what we need is not the removal of statues. We need the removal of racist statutes and laws and processes in systems. We need them to attack the inequity, the discrimination, the bias, the disproportionality. That's what we need to be changing. Systems, not.
Yeah, I'll rock out with that. Forget the statues and change the statues. I'll rock with that. We need certain things changed. You can stop overriding us, doing us dirty, using this code, using that code. I rock with that. Forget the statues. Some people say, yeah, take down the statues because it's a part of American history, period. So leave the statues up. I'm cool with that. But we need laws and certain commandments changed. I'll rock with that one. I'll rock with that.
Wow. It seems like right now, based on what you said, that systematic racism is still in play in Philadelphia and probably some of the other cities as well. But I know that Philadelphia has a big integral system. So if they just removed the statue of Frank Rizzo and they didn't undercut and gut out some of the rules and laws that are in place, keeping that terrible system that got Mumia arrested and that kind of thing, well then I guess we do have a long way to go. Now let's back up.
It leads America in gentrification, by the way, sister, and city. Philadelphia passed San Francisco and Seattle and is now the #1 most gentrified major city in America. Philadelphia also incarcerates more African American young adults than any other country in the world. So they're even comparing Philadelphia to other countries. Not only does it lead America in young adults who are doing life without parole, it leads Philadelphia County leads the world in young adults doing life without parole.
Wow. I have a theory on how that probably started. Do you remember when South Philly was just a hole in the wall and Broad Street was just like, damn, you just want to get away from it, and how it's all changed? How it changed? How they would arrest these young black men and then make people put their house up to get them out, and all of those houses that were worth nothing, you can't even afford to live in them. Around Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah, which used to be the original ghettos of Philadelphia, where black people lived. South Street was once a black ghetto.
So I think the South Street, I think the South Street, I like to remember the Italian open air market. So
right, but going back to the days of slavery, right after slavery, from Reconstruction up in
My bad. That was an accident. Hold on, y'all. That was an accident. I don't even know how that happened. Hold on. We're going to go back. Come on. We did not try to do that. Come on. Get out of here. We did not try to do that. Get that junk out of here. All I try to do is check for something, man.
Good afternoon, Baltimore.
The Taylor protest for justice that took place a few months ago. Those were the largest, most Sister Ann, we know that there's at least 10 to 20 towns that are up for sale in America. The entire town. So if black people were serious, we would be able to go and purchase one of these towns for sale, and there goes your Black Wall Street right there. We're not serious. We don't want to do the work. That's the bottom line. Now, the Achilles heel is black people.
Wait. Purchase the town, and there go your Black Wall Street right there. Nope, that's another lie. I don't care how much land a black person purchases in America. It does not guarantee that black people want to work on that land. That's not a guarantee. So he's lying again. Purchase the land, and there you go to Black Wall Street. Black people are not serious. You mean out of all the buildings in America, you chose that ran down building? You chose the building you have to use a lot of money to renovate? Out of all the buildings in America, Dr. Umar Johnson wants to pick a building where he has to renovate it instead of all those buildings across America that don't need that much renovation. You chose that. Not only that, you chose the area. So you chose the impoverished area, and you chose the school that been ran through and stolen and broken down and stripped. This is from a man who looked at all of these buildings all over the world that don't need that much work. He chose the building that needs a lot of work, and it would cost a lot of money. And the area is even crazy. This is the man who think he can tell Black Americans what they need to do, what they should do. It's crazy, man.
Not want to engage in the sustained commitment, effort, focus, responsibility, and accountability to build an independent Black community. We would rather hitch on to a white one. That has been our eternal problem for the past 50 years. We do not want to do anything for ourselves. We want to hitch a ride on the backs of white folks.
Well, they're going to find out because in D.C., I think they're about to turn up next week. You know, because they got these I guess, pseudo-claim groups coming through, kind of stepping people around, and I want to see how the Chocolate City does with that. I'm going to plan to be in that area a little bit just to see what happens. But I was hoping that even D.C. would have a little chocolate thing going on where a Black-owned...
My man YouTube Street says he always trying to spend other people money. Yep. YouTube says even if you purchase land in America, you still have to work within the system. Exactly. People were trying to literally give him acres of land for free, and exactly. People was trying to get this man free. He was see Umar is like Umar is a preacher. He's just like a preacher. I'ma sell you hope. I'ma point fingers at you when you don't do what I want you to do, and I'ma sell you hope. He sells hope by blocking all the stuff that can get the school could have been up and running a long time ago. He had land, he had free workers, all of that. He don't want he want people that can't really out him and have a lot of power to prove that he's a liar. So he like people like Tiffany, he like people like, you know what I'm saying, Don, people who don't have that much power to actually, bring a lot of heat on them. He don't like those. He don't like help. It's all part of a game. FDMG go open this year. FDMG go open this year. FDMG go open this year. Come on, man. It's all bullcrap, bro. Little Unc says, was it asbestos? What's that mean? Baby Pickle says, right, Umar always, oh, my bad. I said, do $1 million check each March, but no one listens to me. So keep disagreeing. So my comment is cover up the money he was stealing. Yeah, he's wilding. Right, Umar always has that building fund bucket circulating. He wants to spend donations nearly all. Yeah, that's what he do. Renee, what up? Leave that status up. Put one of the horrendous acts of slavery right next to it. They will have to see it and explain their kid. Yo, this stuff is wild, man.
Which I don't think, like I said, it's not about hating another race, but it's just about seeing what we can sustain for ourselves.
It's really the only option you got because nobody really wants to be around Black people anyway. I mean, most realtors, they understand that. So it's like a 2-Black family rule in the suburbs. Once you get 2 Black families on the block, the white folks want to move away because nobody really wants to be around us, but we don't want to accept it. And the problem is we don't want to be around each other. That's the problem. We would rather suffer the racism of living in a white neighborhood than work with each other. Our contempt for each other is just absolutely, it's absolutely impossible. And the brother said, there has to be a cultural revolution. Well, before there can be a cultural revolution, there has to be a psychological revolution. And Frederick Douglass said it's better to raise strong children than to repair broken men. And that's why, for me, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garden Academy is the way to go. Well, it is education, but it has to be a certain type of education. It's not just teaching our kids how to read and write and count. No. You got to teach them loyalty. You got to make sure they understand who they are, and they also have to understand who their enemy is. And that's also where we fall short because we don't teach our children about racism. Most Black people, including me, we find out about racism as adults by experiencing it. Even though I was introduced to Black history in the 4th grade at the age of 9, I was not taught about white supremacy and systemic racism until I experienced it as an adult. And that is too late. Our children should understand what racism is and how it operates as elementary school students, not as adults.
When was the first time that you actually experienced racism on a personal level? And that you knew what it was?
It would have been 3rd grade. We were living in Jacksonville, North Carolina, said something in class, and the white principal came out. He took me outside, he twisted my arm and threw me up against the wall. And that's when I knew what racism was. I knew it right then. I said, that white man don't like me because I'm black. And I went home and told my father, and I'm not sure what became of the situation. Another incident was also while we was living in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And I think it might have been the same year. And there was some white kids who lived across the street, and I used to play with them, you know, and as an 8-year-old third grader. And one day, and this was on a military base, and so one day, the parent of the white children came over, banged on our door. My father answered the door, and he said, I don't want your kid hanging out around my house anymore. I never went in their house. I would just go stand outside. The kids would see me. I would come outside, and they would do the same thing because we had big glass windows, and they would come stand outside of our house. And then, you know, that's how I knew they were ready for me to come outside. And we played. Me and the white kids, we played around, you know, but that was when I knew what racism was. When he banged on the door and told my father he didn't want me hanging out around his house anymore, I knew what that meant, and I never played with his kids again.
Wow, that was so unfortunate, but it's like that's a lesson that I think these kids need to learn sooner rather than later. And we're hoping all those racist people will die out, and now you're seeing a big resurgence of them. And it's so unfortunate.
Very big resurgence, you know. And I'm going to give a lot of that credit to Barack Obama. I'm going to give a lot of that credit to Barack Obama because he made it comfortable to be outwardly racist again because he would not speak up for black people. You know, we blame Donald Trump. Donald Trump made it worse, but the momentum was built during the 8 Obama years. So when Donald Trump got into office, that momentum of being outwardly aggressively racist was already built by Obama, and Donald Trump just picked up where Obama left off. And it sounds paradoxical, it's quite ironic, but believe it or not, the black Democratic liberal president actually helped, you know, create the racist atmosphere that the conservative white Republican president would use, you know, to quote unquote make America white again.
Well, I know that I read a little something about him not putting his foot down with the Tamir Rice thing because they were so sure that Hillary Clinton would get back in office. And just like we're unapologetically black, Donald Trump is unapologetically white. And he let his boys come in there and spit that right in everybody's face, like, so what? Yeah, we killed them. Which brings me to this, because I know we're winding up in about 10 minutes. What in the hell do you think we can do about these police officers just straight up killing our people in the driveway, coming out the house, wellness checks? It's beyond ridiculous at this point.
Well, first of all, the black community needs to create its own system of policing and accountability. Once again, we don't have any infrastructure as a community. Calling 911 should not be the first step to getting some sort of redress for whatever you're dealing with. If a sister having issues with a man putting his hands on her, there should be somebody she can call in the neighborhood. You know, some young folks are threatening somebody, there should be some men you can call in the neighborhood. You know, we don't want to admit this, but black men and the black community as a whole are culpable in the police genocide against black people because we are not stepping in to create a counter system that black people can use to avoid pushing those 3 numbers, 911, and of course 9 is the number of death anyway. You know, so we're culpable in that. We need to be doing something to give our people a alternative system of emergency intervention as opposed to calling the police. But Frederick Douglass told us, you know, he told us about this, you know, more than 100 years ago. He said it is not going to stop. Power conceives nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will. Until we force the change, there will be no change.
Wow. I know you see a lot of this. Is there any particular police shooting incident beyond the whole George Floyd thing? You know about that. In Philly that really just got you thinking, oh man, this has got to stop.
It was the last one that happened in West Philly a couple weeks ago where
guys know that I have got a product called Air Care, which is an antimicrobial antidote. You can give me a call, 410-888-9311. And Dr. Umar, can you close this out?
Absolutely. Marcus Garvey said, without confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won before you have started. Maryland.
All right. That's it for that right there. All right, peace, YouTube streets. Let's go into Dr. Umar visiting the graveyards. Y'all seen that? Have y'all seen Dr. Umar visiting the graveyards? He loved visiting graveyards. Let's check out a couple before we get out of here. Check out a couple of them things before we get out of here, man. Hold on real quick. Hold up. All right, let's check it out. Sue is dancing to the rock music behind the screen. What? What? How long he will be continue to blame Obama? Obama, would the question be for Umar? What has he done to the community? Say a prayer for the first before you hear them. You don't even know the spirit latches to him. No doubt, no doubt. Okay, let's get this off of here. People wilding. People wilding. All right, here we go.
This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism. This is Intercontinental Ifa Tunde. This is Black Thanos. This is the notorious RBG. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism live at the grave of the greatest woman to ever walk American soil, the greatest female revolutionary of the 19th century. One of the greatest soldiers for freedom and justice in the history of the world. Her name is Queen Mother Harriet Tubman, born approximately 1820, left this world for the next world on March the 10th of 1913. A bold Black woman who caught a serious disease as a child, but she didn't give up. Got hit in the head with a weight as a child, but she didn't give up. Slave master said she wasn't worth 6 pence, but she wouldn't give up. Escaped from slavery, went back, helped her mother and her father, went back, helped her brothers and sisters, went back, and helped over 300 Africans who she didn't even know along the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad existed before Harriet Tubman, but she would reinvent the Underground Railroad. Brothers and sisters, this Black woman who fought for the rights of black women, who was a soldier in the Civil War. She was the only woman in American history to lead troops into battle. I said only woman in American history to lead soldiers into battle. I'm going to say it one more time. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman was the only woman in American history to ever lead soldiers into battle during the Civil War, when she led a group of black soldiers on a raid that single-handedly freed more than 800 enslaved Africans, brothers and sisters. And when she was done, she didn't stop there. She bought some land from the governor of New Miss Governor Seward, I believe his name was, and she bought land and used that land to open up a home for old folks. She would take people of any race, but she wanted to primarily help her own race, because when enslaved African elders were no longer of any use to the slave master, they would turn them loose in the streets to die homeless and cold and hungry. And Queen Mother Harriet Tubman said, that's not right. So she saved the money that she made during the Civil War, because she was never officially given a wage as a soldier. She was never officially given a wage as a scout in the Civil War. She was never officially given a wage as a nurse in the Civil War, brothers and sisters. So the money that she made, she raised it by taking care of soldiers when they were sick. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman was also a herbalist, brothers and sisters. She was a herbalist. When the soldiers in the Civil War was wounded, Queen Mother Harriet Tubman would go to the trees and go to the plants, and she would extract the herbal juice and essence of the plants and trees, and she would use that. And at night, she would go around and nurse and doctor to the wounded black and white soldiers in the Civil War. That's how she made money. She would wash their clothes. She would cook their food. That's how she made money. And she saved those pennies and brought them back to New York and built a house for elderly black folks, built a farm to raise money, built a hospital. We don't even have a hospital today. And this black woman who was unlettered, okay, unread, did not receive a formal education, but was more intelligent and had more insight and foresight than most of us living with all of our college degrees, brothers and sisters. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman had an old folks home, and she was in the process of opening up a hospital. I think she did finish the hospital, or she died just before the hospital was completed, brothers and sisters. That's what we're talking about. Harriet Tubman was in the process of building a hospital in racist America after the Civil War during Reconstruction, and we don't have a hospital without 2 billion trillions of dollars that we making every year, brothers and sisters. So I could not go back to Philadelphia. I could not go back to Philadelphia until I stopped at the grave of Queen Mother Harriet Tubman, after I'd already visited my 4 times great-grand cousin and kinsman, the great Frederick Douglass in Rochester. I had to drive 2 hours over here today from Buffalo. I had to drive 2 hours from Buffalo to come pay respects to the Queen, brothers and sisters. I had to come pay respects to the Queen. This woman right here is my #1 revolutionary ancestor, right next to Nat Turner. Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman go side by side. And at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, the highest stage of excellence will be the Nat Turner Harriet Tubman Award. The highest stage of excellence will be the Nat Turner Harriet Tubman Award, brothers and sisters. So I am here paying respects to the Queen. I am here paying respects to the Queen. That's right, brothers and sisters. I remember the first time I visited the grave of Harriet Tubman. She came to me in a dream. The first time I visited the grave with Brother Ross and Sister Twiggy down in Syracuse, the first people to bring me to Syracuse, also the first people to bring me here to the grave of Harriet Tubman. Once I got back to Philadelphia, okay, Queen Mother Harriet came into my grave, and it go Eshu Elegba, the Orisha that opens up the gates, the road of Getty Nimbo, Eshu Elegba. You understand? Elegbara, the road, the Orisha that opens up the roads in the past. I had to bring Eshu with me and ask Eshu to open up the pathway so I could communicate to Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. I have to call on Orisha or Yah, the mother of the storms and transformation and revolutionary changes, and the leader of the Agungun Society, to let me speak to Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. Let me speak to the Honorable Frederick Douglass. It's all about the ancestors, brothers and sisters. It's all about the ancestors, brothers and sisters. That's what we do. That's what we do. Yes, brothers and sisters. It's all about the ancestors. King Kong Consciousness, live at the grave. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. It's the Queen and the Prince. It's the Queen and the Prince, brothers and sisters. They can make jokes about it, but I'm serious about honoring my ancestors. They can laugh about it, but I'm serious about honoring my ancestors, because I stand on her shoulders. I stand on their shoulders. So every time I get a chance to go to a gravesite and pay respects to those who come before me, the Prince of Pan-Africanism will do that. Yes, indeed. I'm wearing the jacket of the MAP program out of Rochester, New York. My brother Kareem, you understand, brother Jerry, working with the young folks. He gave me this jacket as a gift when I was in Rochester. I'm loving his jacket, Reem. I'm loving his jacket. Can't wait to come back to Rochester and speak with the young folks in the MAP program. But it's the Prince of Pan-Africanism and Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. We locked and loaded. It's the Prince of Pan-Africanism and Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. We locked and loaded. Next stop, Brooklyn, New York, Tuesday, January 12th, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad birthday. Next stop, Brooklyn, New York, Tuesday, January the 12th, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad birthday. Charleston, South Carolina on Dr. King birthday, Friday the 15th. And Macon, Georgia, Saturday the 16th, the Prince is coming. Miami, Florida, Sunday, January 31st. Miami, Florida, Sunday, January the 31st. Hit that Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit that PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. We're about to shake up the world this summer. We're about to shake up the world. The grand opening of the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Elementary School, the Nat Turner, G.J. Dessalines Gymnasium. We not playing with y'all. I'm a nation builder. I ain't got time for games. I'm a nation builder. Put your institutions up, not your DVDs, not your books, not your documentaries, not your YouTube videos, not your summer events. Put up your institutions. Harriet Tubman built a hospital. What we gonna do? Harriet Tubman built an old folks home. What we gonna do? She ain't have no college degrees. And that's what she did. It's our time. Peace and black power. The king is out. Peace and black power. The king is out. Y'all know the number. 21.
We out of here, man. I'll see y'all again. I'll probably upload another video or two. You know what I'm saying? A little later, man. Before I go to work and all that. But yeah, man, that's it, man. Salute to y'all, man. He back out here visiting graves. He back out here acting like he the King Kong of consciousness. The King Kong of consciousness. He doing all of that shit again, man. He back, man. All right, he back. He back doing that, y'all. Now let me know what y'all think about this, man. Salute to y'all. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Become a free thinker for $1.99 a month, man. And I'll see y'all next video. Yo, we gotta get it back. YouTube trying to mess up my algorithm, but we gonna get it back. Yes, we do. We gonna get